Hi there, I'm Claire Whelan, and you're listening to the Claire in a Chair podcast.
And I know I can tell you anything. You won't judge, you're just listening. Yeah.
Hi there, and welcome back to this week's episode. I know we haven't chatted in a hot minute, but I'm so happy to be back and get so ready for some very exciting interviews coming up, including today. But before we get into those awesome interviews, let's get a word from our sponsor, Dwell and Adorn. Dwell and Adorn is a boutique that has anything you might need. From bracelets and jewelry to fun hats, headbands, and even furniture, Dwell and Adorn has exactly what you need for this summer vacation. And check out my new website, claireinachair.com, also in the episode overview. Thank you so much to Dwell and Adorn for sponsoring this episode of Claire in a Chair, and I hope that you can support them and check them out in the description. Thank you so much, and let's get into this week's episode. Like I said, we have some very exciting interviews coming up, and today is no exception. Today, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, books. If you've ever finished an amazing book and immediately wanted to talk about it with someone, today's guest has built an entire community around doing exactly that. Lily, better known online as Lily's Books, shares honest reviews, recommendations, reactions, and all things reading with thousands of fellow book lovers. Her content has helped so many people discover their next read, including me. Today we're going to be talking about how she got started, what it really looks like being a book content creator, how social media has changed her life and her way of reading, and of course, we're asking for some great book recommendations. Lily, thank you so much for being here, and I'm so excited to have you on Claire in a Chair. Hi, Lily. Thank you so much for joining me on Claire in a Chair.
Thank you.
Let's just get into that first question. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you became Lily's Books, and where can listeners find you online?
Hi, I'm Lily. I'm a high school and BookTok creator, and I've always loved reading. It's really became a big part of my life in the past couple years. You can find me over at Instagram, and I've been posting since December, and my community has grown so much, and I'm so grateful for it. And it's really just a fun hobby now, and I'm so grateful for the community I have.
You mentioned that you started posting in December. What made you decide to start sharing your book opinions online?
Well, really, I didn't really have anybody to talk to about the books I read at the time, and I've never been big on using Instagram, so when I first started getting on it, I was like, okay, people talk about Boys of Tobin on here, and that's really what my account is based on. So it started off with me not showing my face at all because I was so scared of what people thought, and that also plays a big part into what it's turned into today because I love to share confidence now. It's become a big part of my life, and yeah, that's
I love that so much because you're not only like a book talk creator, you're also so much more. Like, you're a self-love influencer for sure. And I've loved kind of how your content is kind of both sides of that. Like you mentioned, I actually found your account after reading the Boys of Tommen series. What is it about those books that you think readers really connect with them for?
I really think it's the emotional aspect of it, and they're so easy, the book characters are to connect with, and they're all flawed in some way, and each character has their own um, issues, and what I think why people enjoy those books so much.
What would you say is your personal favorite character of that series?
I would say probably Ethan Malloy. I get told I look like her and I act like her, and I love that. I love that so much.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love that so much. What has been your favorite part of being in the online book community?
It's definitely the friends I've made along the way. I've had my ups and downs, always. That always comes with social media, but I have a really good group of friends right now that I talk to, and they're really amazing. They love the books I love, so that's great. And it's always nice to have friends that have the same interest as you, and having a Bookstagram account, that really helps.
You mentioned that you were also kind of like a confident self-love influencer. What is one thing that you hope all teenagers know about confidence?
You have to love yourself before you love anybody, and that's really the message I love to put out there. because as someone who struggled with insecurities and still do to this day, it's really about it's self-love, honestly, and it's really hard to find that, and it's also once again, going back to the friends thing, friends help with that so much, and the friends I have in real life and online have helped with that a lot.
Hmm. Would you say that your confidence has boosted after starting to post online in your account?
It really has. And getting like, I get some DMs and they're always just so sweet, and they really like it helps me express myself more. And that always like at first, I did not post my face. I was so scared, but now that I started posting my face, it was like, okay, this is what I need to do because I get so many DMs saying how confident I am and I radiate that. And I just love that personally because once again, I struggled with that a long time ago, and seeing it helps other people, that helps me also.
Hmm. Well, you definitely do radiate confidence and positivity, and that's something I love so much about your content.
Thank you.
This is a question I personally have like been dying to know. Has creating book content changed the way that you read books?
It has, it really has. I used to only read like romance. I used to be strictly romance, but now I'm kind of like all over. And yeah, it definitely has. And now that I do create content, I have to like read what's popular, and that also it helps me read more now because I used to only read about like 4 books a month. Now I read up to 10, which is great, and I love that.
That's awesome. Oh my goodness. What is something that you think most people don't realize about being a book content creator?
It's really the time it takes. Like the 30-second reels I put out are it's 30 seconds. People scroll, but like having to find those quotes and having to prepare and stuff like that, it takes a lot. But also another thing I would say is the community you get. Like of course you're going to receive hate with it, but it's always going to be subsided by the love that you get to.
Hmm. How have you kind of coped with just negative people in the online world?
Well, I wouldn't even say I cope with it. I just try to ignore it. Like I try to push it out completely cuz with The Boys Atonement, if you've read it, you know it has a lot of hate. It has a lot of hate in its community, and you really just have to like push it aside. You can't let it get to you.
That is so true. And it's crazy because that book series is supposed to be about love and people, and it just kind of feels like the fandom is like the exact opposite. So you mentioned this a little bit, but how many books would you say you read like per 6 months now that you've become a book influencer?
And it used to not be that way. I used to struggle with reading a lot. So to see how much I've grew since then is really great.
Say that you kind of have like a pressure to review the books you read online now, and you're not really reading so much for fun.
Yeah, I was hoping we'd get into this actually. Yes, in a way, because I just get like so many comments. Have you read this book? Can you make videos about this book? And of course, I want to give what they want. So yes, in a way, but I also try to distance myself from that mindset and like reading should still be fun for me, and it really is. But sometimes I do feel pressured.
For sure. I can totally get that. Do you have any tips for teenagers who want to read but can't find time in their schedule?
Yeah, so once again, I've been like that with school and stuff. And it's really just like taking like at least 10 minutes out of your day, even if it's like a couple words or a couple chapters. That's what's really helped me. And that also keeps you out of, as everybody knows, the book slump. We all know it and we all hate it. And that's really helped me. And another thing I used to struggle with is that I would go like the whole entire month, and at the first last days of the month, I'd read like 4 books at a time, and that put me in a slump. It was just like continuous. So it's really just taking that little moment out of your day to do that.
Mm-hmm. Would you? what would you say your goal for your content and for your account is in the next 5 years?
It would be, I just want to reach everybody and I want to express like my opinions and I want to keep the positivity of the book world still out there because nobody wants any negativity. And it put out a lot because of course people have their opinions and people are entitled to those. But it goes back to the hate thing and I really just want to express all the positivity I can and self-love and confidence out of the book community.
Thank you so much for joining me on Claire in a Chair. This meant so much to me,
I am too.
and I can't wait to see what the listeners think about this.
Too.
And I know I can tell you anything. You won't judge, you're just listening.